Hi everyone, I'm David Wackenfeld and I'm the Chief Scientist at the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. I'm here today to give you the latest in our series of summer reef health updates. Today's the 8th of March, so obviously the summer itself is over, but it's been a summer of interesting weather events with a couple of cyclones in the area and some extreme rainfall and flooding. So we're beginning the process of recapping what's happened over the summer and looking at the overall events. Today I'm just going to talk to you about where we're up to with our in-water information over the last few weeks, particularly in relation to the flooding. Two of the most important factors that we look for when we're assessing the impacts of a flood plume are salinity and visibility out there in the water on the reef. Salinity is important because the reef animals, particularly the corals, are very sensitive to changes in the concentration of salt in the seawater. Seawater is typically 35 parts per thousand salt. We've seen in this flood event that salinity has dropped as low as 20 parts per thousand. So that's certainly a level that will be severely stressing corals and potentially causing coral mortality. Visibility is important because it's an indicator of blooms of plankton that are typically caused by the nutrients that come out of the flood plume. Reduced visibility means reduced light, and that's not good for corals or seagrasses. It also makes it difficult for us to undertake dive surveys because it's actually difficult to see what's going on for the divers underwater. The ongoing weather conditions out on the reef, in particular reduced visibility in some areas, are actually slowing down the surveys to go out and have a look at the impacts. But I'll let you know where we're up to so far. We're seeing that up in the far north of the Great Barrier Reef, around the Princess Charlotte Bay area and north, there is already a return to normal for visibility and salinity. But in the central Great Barrier Reef, particularly around Townsville, particularly in inshore areas, we're seeing that reduced visibility and the reduced salinity from the flooding, those are still persisting in those areas. Three of the things that can happen in a flood plume that most affect the corals are reduced salinity, reduced light, and fine sediment. And each of these affects the corals in a different way. But the upshot tends to be the same, which is that the corals get stressed and they can therefore bleach and or get coral disease. And if the stresses from any of those three things gets bad enough, then we can actually see corals die. Now, we do have some localized reports of corals both bleaching and at least partially dying in various parts of the Great Barrier Reef at the moment. We're still undertaking surveys and working with our partners through the Eye on the Reef network to see how widespread those impacts are. So far this summer, we've seen a variety of different weather events, each of which has had a different effect on the Great Barrier Reef. We started with very hot weather in December. We had a couple of cyclones and tropical lows in Owen and Penny. And then, of course, we had the intense monsoonal rain in February that led to many rivers flooding. It's still early days to tell exactly what the effects of all that weather are on the Great Barrier Reef, and we're continuing to conduct surveys out there in the park. We really do need your help, so please download the Eye on the Reef app and send us information through that, or you can just use our sightings network on www.gbrmpa.gov.au. We're still out there assessing the effects of extreme weather this year over the summer, and we'll give you further information in more updates in a week or so.